So this is my Black Force Surrer clock. It's a special clock. It's a Sheild clock. It's kind of got like the snore chimes in it. It's got an oversized governor fan on it. It's supposed to sound like bees when it goes off. I personally don't think it sounds like bees. And it's got two hammers and two gongs. There's pins on this wheel here that some of them are longer and some of them are shorter. They're on both the left side of the wheel and the right side of the wheel. And this system here, as the clock turns around, whenever this gets higher on this wheel, this activates, it pushes the system around, and when this activates, it changes things about. There's there's an arm on this lever here, and when this activates, it pushes that arm one way or the other way, which will change the how many times these hammers hit the gong and what they hit. And it's all got to do with this piece here. This hammer activates the strike mechanism, and then on the hour pipe, there's a cutaway version also that at times will move this lever here in and out. Right now it's moved out. I would have to put a set of hands on this thing to turn it, or turn it like this. It's kind of like the Steph Thomas snore clocks, where they change position. And if you watch this here, it's going to change the position of this lever. So now when I hit the strike, but as the minute hand changes, like I said, these levers change position. I've been working on this clock for a very long time, ever since I got it about 3 years ago. And something is supposed to make this turn. So now it's out. This lever here is out. So I'm going to let you listen to it now. My chain is coming off. Actually, it got tied up in this pin. Let me let you listen to that again. Like I said, it's a unique clock, extremely rare clock, and extremely expensive clock, and I've been working on it for a while. I took this board, and I talked about this before. These Sheild clocks are, 150, 180 years ago when they made them. I'm sure it was safe. But this board, which is extremely thin, is glued, and you can see the glue to the back of this Sheild. And then these hooks go into holes on this thin board. Well, I don't trust that system, so I'm modifying the clock, and I've been experimenting with different kind of boards, and so I took I know this guy who builds custom cabinets for a living, and I took a board to him so he can make a board that I have, which is plywood, a little bit thinner for me. Too thick of a board, and the hands don't go on the shaft. And so, like I said, I've been working on this clock for a while, but I've been making these antique pendulums, and this is the pendulum rod I was wanting to use, but when you stick the wire up into the case, the wire is about a half inch too short, so I need to make a longer wire. This is the NAWCC posting on the Surrerwork clocks. And you can see mine has all the same information, except for my governor fan is not like this one. This is the movement of the clock. The wire is a little bit different from mine, but everything else is the same. That wheel, that hammer, this lever right here, this part right here, everything else, like I said, is the same. Except for theirs is a wooden base, wooden dial clock, where mine is a porcelain base, porcelain dial clock. Mine's more valuable than theirs. And they got side doors. Here's the movement. It's a double gong system. just like mine. And I will leave, like I said, the link to this in the description of this video. All the levers, everything is the same as mine. Here's those, that wheel with those pins on it that I was telling you about. Some are longer than the other, and they're on both sides. Now this is their pendulum, and I wanted to know what theirs look like because mine is not what I want. So I'm going to change mine a little bit. Theirs looks like it's a wooden stick that goes up in the top with this connector on it. So I'm going to change my pendulum. And I'm not going to read all this to you. You're right, these buggers are most scarce. I have a spring-driven movement fiddled with, but anyway, this is a different system. Surrell clocks. The word in the German language I understand describes the sound of buzzing bees or insects. When the Surrell clock strikes the hours or quarters, there's a lot of buzzing noise before, during, and after the hours or quarter hours are struck. The design of the Surrell striking mechanism is such that a strike train goes through the full 12 counts regardless of the time of day, but engages the bell's hammer only in accordance with the time of the day. Thus, a lot of spent motion is buzzing from the wheel train and regulating fan. It is a unique design and well adapted to strike quarters, but wasn't often utilized. Mine doesn't have a bell on it, and neither does this one. I don't believe they came with bells. Anyway, I will leave this in the description of this video. Well, messing with this, like I said, it's been 3 years since I messed with this. I was wanting to know how this wheel here turned. There's a pin on the minute, hour shaft, and there's that pin right there. Watch this wheel here. This has got a spring on it that keeps this position down, but as the wheel turns, it rotates that, and it only rotates it once an hour. And here it's coming. It's right there. It's going to rotate it again. And there, that lever blipped out. It was pushed in, but it blipped out is because it's off of this extended part. It's now in the cutaway section. So when that lever flips, it changes the noise it makes. Somehow this has got stuck up in the air. and it needs to come down. There we go. One, two, three, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I thought he said it's supposed to strike 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Try one more time. 1, maybe with the second hammer playing, it strikes 12. But I'm gonna change positions of this thing again. Do that again. It's a pretty cool clock either way you look at it. I was wanting to see if I can get this to come out, because I changed its positions also. But I have to rotate this until this metal lever here is on top of that cutout, which will pull this out. And it's starting to pull it out, and it went back in. I went too far. Now let's see what it sounds like. Like I said, it's a really cool clock. I love it. And I know somebody else loves it too, but he didn't offer me enough money for it. I have an acquaintance who lives in Australia. He repairs clocks for a living. Been doing it for many years. He told me the clocks with the wooden dials in working order are valued at around $1,500 or more, but because it has a porcelain face and porcelain dial, that increases the value. I'm supposed to get my part back tomorrow, and hopefully I can find the hands. I got original hands with this thing, but it's a really cool system. Like I said, I don't trust the way the dial is put on it, and so that's why it's taken me forever to work on this thing. I want it to, because most people, when they grab a hold of the clock, if you were to grab a hold of this cuckoo clock right here, you're not going to grab it by the base. You're going to grab it by the face. Just like this one, you're going to grab it by the face. Just like this one, you're going to grab it by the face. Just like this heavy-duty 8-day one, you're going to grab it by the face. and pray to God that it's still connected. With this clock, with that board, the way it was made, those bases are nailed into the main wood. With this clock, the way it was originally made, they glued this thin board to that porcelain dial. And then the hooks, these little hooks right here, went into the wood on this. Let me see if I could go ahead and put them in. Stand by. I'm trying to hook these hooks into these holes, and without the base on it, I can't get the hooks to go into those holes. And with the base on it, I would break that porcelain dial. I don't trust this system. And so for the people who are going to complain that I'm modifying this case, so be it. This is a rare clock, You don't hardly find these things. I got lucky that I found this thing on Shop Goodwill, and I paid around $65. I take it back. I paid $60.69. There's the clock. And they're saying antique vintage hand-painted baseball clock. I normally just save their titles. Here's the clock. These are the pictures from Goodwill when I bought this clock. Always save their pictures. Original hands, original change, didn't come with weight, didn't come with pendulum. But, I think they had the case glued, the part glued to the movement. I don't remember. No, I take that back. It was just sitting on there. The hands was the only thing that was holding this thing in place. So, it's not every day that you can turn $60 into $1,500. Because that's what I was told the clock was worth. At least. And I bought it back in September 26th of 2020. That's how long it's taken me to work on this clock for me to be satisfied. Here's a video of that guy from the NAWCC showing that his clock working. I'll show you what it looks like. The governor fan is what's making all the noise on his clock. I think my clock might be a modification of this clock, where they have the governor fan in a different spot. I like his video. I subscribe to his video. It didn't cost me a dang thing to do just what I just did. And I have subscribed to lots of people's videos. And it's never cost me a dime. If you like somebody's video, you should support them and subscribe to their channel. There's supposed to be 2 videos, so I'm going to click on this one. You see the pins? This clock does the exact same thing as mine. I'm going to go back, but I want to show you something. I wasn't recording, so I'll say it all again. There's a string right here that's tied to the lever that you trip to make the strike work, and that's why he's pulling to make the strike work instead of turning the hands around. I'll probably add a string like this to my clock. So I got back from my friends, and he thinned out this board for me. And so before it was too thick, and the hour shaft wouldn't stick up. I don't know whether it's thin enough for the hands to go on. However, it's been 4 years since I worked on this clock, and I really wish I had better organizational skills. When I turned 50, ADHD kicked in, and things distract me really easily. I was looking through containers of parts and stuff, and it took me an hour and a half because I got distracted by this. I made this when I went to farrier school, or maybe I didn't make this one, but maybe I acquired it while I was in farrier school. Yeah, I didn't make this one and I got distracted by this shark tooth, which my niece, I believe, gave it to me. It was on a necklace at one time. But anyway, it took me a long time to go through a few containers to look for hands. And then I've got a couple of organized drawers full of hands. The metal hands which go on it are too small. I'm gonna put some cuckoo hands on this as temporary basis until I order some more hands. I just got through making an order with Time Savers, and I don't make that many orders through Time Savers every year. I wait until I have to order stuff, a lot of stuff. And so I just got through ordering stuff through Time Savers. I'm gonna search more for my parts, but for the original hands, I got the original hands around here somewhere. But again, ADHD distracts you. And so it might take me another 4 years to find the hands. But anyway, I'm getting close to this. I did find some original antique chain hooks to put on the chains, and I have to I use these adhesives again. Originally, a thin board was glued to this porcelain base, and then they drilled holes sideways in the board for these hooks to catch, and I don't like that system, so I'm going to do it my way. Some eye hooks will go in here in 4 different spots, and then I'm going to pull these sticky tabs off, connect it to this board. It's going to look just like that. It's where you don't see the board unless you're actually looking for it. And then the eyelets will be screwed in, and the screws will be used to secure the eyelets to this case, because I don't want this original thing falling off. And this is the original board. I'm surprised it's not broken. I've got another one around here somewhere that is broken in half. But this board was too flimsy for me. I didn't want to use it. It's better than the original board. But the board that I chose is plywood. And they took a layer of the plywood off, so it's pretty strong. Some days it doesn't pay to work on clocks. It doesn't pay to get out of bed. I'm working on this very expensive Surrerwerk clock, the one that this shield goes to, and I had to make a pendulum, and so I got my desk here where I was working on, and I had the clock up here, and bam, it fell on the floor. There's the governor pin, and there's another wheel that came out of place. So talk about being pissed off. Excuse my French, but I've been working on this clock for 4 years, trying to figure out what I want to do, because it didn't come with a pendulum. I didn't like the way the base was secured to the clock. It's a very delicate clock, and I drop it off my bed. I'm just so angry with myself right now. Time to take a break. So I got the back door off, and now you can see the two gongs. And the reason why those parts came out is this plate here came forward. There are nails that are supposed to hold that plate in place, but they are not doing their job. And so I have to put the main wheel here back in place and the fly. So I'm going to do that off camera, because I'm not going to be able to do it with this camera in my face. I just want to point out that this wheel here that has all these pins on it, it has a cutout section that this bent arm here goes into when it's done striking. This bent arm right here. And then I believe that the pin on the third wheel with warning pin would also hit that wire when it's done striking. It might have bent. Here it is. I'm going to show you what it's shaped like by drawing it out for you. the wire is on this lever right here. And it comes off that lever, and it's shaped like this. And I believe this part here goes into that cam that has all those pins on it. And then I believe that the third wheel with warning pin would hit this portion of the wire when it's done striking. In order to put that third wheel with warning pin in, I had to take this rear plate off. And that's what's cool about these type of movements, is you can work on the strike train or the time train separately. Now, if you look down here, there's that cam that I told you that wire goes into, and you should be able to see the pin on the third wheel, which is right here, hitting that bent part of that wire. So now I can put the governor pin back on, making sure it's still working properly. By, you're not seeing what I'm showing you, by flicking it. If I flick it and the governor pin spins around freely, that means it's too loose on the shaft. So you'd want to tighten it up. And the way you would tighten it up is you would take this pin out in most cases, but in this case you would take a pair of pliers and squeeze these rounded edges that the pin goes through, and that's how you would tighten it up. So anyway, I need to put this back on where it belongs. And sometimes you have to lift the third wheel with warning pin up just a little bit so the lantern pinion could get by. And I still want to make sure it's where it belongs. And now I just need to put this plate back on. Right here, there's a piece of metal, and I'm not for sure why that piece of metal is there. I'm gonna see if I can get rid of it. That way the plate goes down better. I'm going to take care of it with my grinder. And these plates only go on one way. And you can figure it out, but in most cases, they have numbers on the bottom rear portion of them. Like right here, there's a Roman numeral 4, and right here, there's a Roman numeral 4. It might be the 4th clock they made. I have no idea what that number is for. But anyway, I ground that piece of metal off, and now it's time to put this plate back on. You'd want to drop it down in the very bottom slot, and working your way from the strike, the number 1 wheel. I have to get it positioned right. Working your way from the crate wheel I got the great wheel in. Now I need to push it down more to get the second wheel in. And it's got all those pins on it, so you might have to maneuver it around a little bit. And my governor fan fell off again, so I'm going to put this together off camera. Still putting it together. This was a pain in the rear because the great wheel, the hole that it goes in, it has to be perfect. And every time I put the second wheel in, it would take the great wheel out of its hole. So I got this stick, this barbecue skewer going through, and then I got hair ties to hold it down. And now the great wheel can't come out of its hole. So now I should be able to put the second wheel and third wheel and all that in. These pins, let me take the second wheel out and show it to you. I've got to get the third wheel out first. These pins, you see how long they are? Because the great wheel, and now the great wheel came out of its hole because I need to put the stick on the other side. That way it holds it down better. But these pins kept hitting the great wheel, and so it makes this thing cockeyed. And so that's why I gotta secure the great wheel before I can put the second wheel in. But if you notice, there's more pins on this side. Every time this thing strikes, it's going to strike 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and possibly 13, 14, 15, 16. Because one hammer hits one side of the gong and the other hammer hits the other side of the gong, and it depends where these pins are positioned. The stuff that I read on the NAWCC, the page I'll provide in the description of this video, says every time it strikes, it'll strike 12 times. One hammer will hit so many pins and the other hammer will hit so many pins. But every time it strikes 12 times, is what I read. It might be 10 times. But anyway, there's quite a few pins on this thing. And it depends on these two levers here, whether they're out, this lever and this lever, whether it's out like this or whether it's in. It depends on where the lever is. And the same way with this lever, whether it's in or whether it's out. And so that depends on which hammers play and how many times. Really cool clock. The only thing that a lot of people won't like about it, if they're used to a cuckooing once for 1 o'clock and 2 for 2 o'clock, etc., you won't like this because it's going to play, it's either 10 or 12 gongs every time it hits. So you can't go by the noise to know what time it is. So now that I got the bamboo skewer on this side, keeps the great wheel in position. And, you know, people wish they had 3 hands and 4 hands sometimes. So that's where you have to think outside the box. What can I do to help me out? Well, the first thing I did was grab these forceps, and I was going to clamp this thing right here to this piece of wood. But I wouldn't be able to do it because the handle, the part that grabs the handle, is too far away. So I'm like, I'll use a rubber band. But I'm like, I don't really want to hook a rubber band all the way around this thing. So that's when I came up with this idea, and it seems to work. So now I'm going to put the other parts together. I know I keep adding to this video and adding to this video, but the whole purpose behind my videos is if I think of an idea while I'm working on a clock, I'm going to show you. That way maybe you can incorporate this idea to help you work on your clocks. It's all back together. I created this wire here. It's got a handle on it. That way the plate don't fall forward. Here's a moment of truth. The third wheel warning pin is holding it. I gotta check something. It should be rotating this way. Do you see why it's not working? The fan somehow got bent and it's hitting the spring. So I need to squeeze the fan to make it smaller. So I squeeze the fan to make it smaller. You see the hammers? And it all has to do with those pins, whether it's a long pin or a short pin that comes by. This hammer here, which is the inside hammer, it covers the basically all the pins, but the outside hammer, which is this hammer, it covers the shorter pins, sorry, the longest pins, I believe. So anyway, we're going to trip it again. Now here comes some long pins. And this lever that I'm moving right here, it is what catches those longer pins. Here comes a long pin. And see, this wire right here is going to catch that long pin, which makes the outside hammer work. Now watch this. Pretty cool system. Anyway, I'm looking to see if it'll stop after it strikes, which it does. So I'm happy with that. So now it's time to put the chain on, put the pendulum stick on, and watch it run for a little bit. Put the back on, etc. I'm looking at the NAWCC pictures of this clock because I've studied my movement. These are the outside pins that the hammers hit. There are these pins on the opposite side, and I don't see anything that hits these outside pins. So, that's a question I'm going to have to ask my Black Porce group expert, Valentin Weber. I couldn't make a pendulum like the one that is in NAWCC. I just don't like it. It has to spread out the pendulum, the crutch assembly. I don't like it. So I made this pendulum, and I'll color it and draw on it later, where I took a block of wood, made it round, got this wire, bent it at the end, and it slides up and down. And so, just like in another video I posted or posting, you take a tapered pin like this and you stick it in the bottom or in the top, wherever you want, and now that pendulum bob stays in place. And so if you got to raise it or lower it, you just raise and lower it, and then you put your tapered pin wherever you want, and I think that will work. Pendulum is working. What happened there, I have no idea. I had to adjust the hammers. I think I got to adjust the hammers some more. I think they're getting stuck with each other. By the way, while I had it apart, I went ahead and gave the wood a drink. What you give your clocks drinks with, when I say drink, wood needs some kind of oil to preserve it. Whether you use Howard's Feed and Wax or Old English oil or New Life Furniture Mask or something else, as long as it has an oil-based product, it gives it a drink. The hammer, this inside hammer, is catching. It's lifting, but it's hitting the gong, the coil at the top. So either the hammer needs to come down or the coil needs to come up. I've done enough for tonight. It's almost 11 p.m. Me and my children are going to go floating on the river tomorrow, and so I will continue this clock later. Adjusting the hammer on this clock is not as easy as it looks. This one here has to be bent in and then bent back. That way it clears this first gong with all the coils, but it has to hit the second gong. So it's almost there, but it's hitting the first gong, so it needs to come out just a little bit And then I have to work on the next one. So anyway, that's what I'm going to continue doing. It helps to remove one out of your way while you're adjusting the other one. I think that inside gong needs to come up or down just a little bit. Now that I adjust the hammers, when I pull on the chain, it works. But when I put the weight on the chain, it doesn't work. I also want to point out that this movement only has a half a chain guard. They're using the click for the other half of the chain guard, which is fine, except for when the click wear out, as in the GK movement that I discovered at my buddy's house. There should have been a front chain guard to prevent the chain from going on the teeth or getting close to the teeth.